Everyone, and welcome back. This is Coach Donna V, and this is That Sales Show. And what we do here is we provide you with best strategies in sales, thought leadership around emotional intelligence, strategies for startups. And today, I have with me somebody who I think is such a motivational and inspirational leader that I had to bring him on. I'd like to introduce you to Derek. Derek Lunston.
Thanks, Donna.
CEO of Scrimmage.
It's great to be here with you. I really appreciate the opportunity to share this time with you.
It's awesome. So before we get started and asking Derek what he does, I want to share with you that one of the things that I love about Derek, and I had an opportunity to interview him a couple months ago, is Derek has this capacity to lead others to their greatness, and it's because it comes from him. It comes from him internally, and he sells from his why without even knowing it. So one of the things that happened while we were in the interview is he talked about, I was like, why Scrimmage? What do you do? And his belief really was that we are changing learning for everybody. So that's his purpose, and it comes off. And it was amazing to me when we were talking how he got his whole team to follow that vision and purpose. And I think that's amazing. And you're having great success.
Yeah.
You just got recognized by Inc. 5000 as the fastest growing company. So that's amazing. So we're gonna tap into his head a little bit on some leadership stuff, how he manages his team, how he inspires his team, how he motivates his team. But before we get there, we're going to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and what Scrimmage does.
Sure. So again, Derek Lunston, I'm the CEO of a company called Scrimmage. We are a mobile learning, mobile training platform that allows you to create a more personalized educational experience using phones, tablets, and other mobile devices to, again, be more engaging, more relevant, and help you obtain your knowledge more effectively and faster. And we do a lot of work currently in corporate education, working with a lot of large companies, but we've also worked with small and mid-sized businesses and startups, and ultimately the opportunity to change education broadly is something that is really exciting and inspiring to me and our team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's awesome. How long have you been in business?
It's been about 7.5 years that we've been on this journey.
And so how many people did you start with, and where are you now in your growth?
I mean, we started with essentially a couple people in a small office, and now we're almost 25 people large. So it's awesome. On our way to growing larger. And I think that's the amazing thing. I mean, you talk about mobile, and you talk about our team. We're a global company. We have clients literally in Europe, in Latin America, and Asia. And we started off, the heart, I say all the time, is actually in Minneapolis, which is where the company started. And we've been growing, and God willing, we'll have locations all over the world in the next few years.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll have to join the team when you grow.
Yeah, it's probably a great idea. Yeah.
So, or maybe I should start now.
Yeah. Hey.
So, all right, one of the things that reason why I brought you on was because I love the idea of how you motivate your sales team and your other teams and have them working together.
Sure. We
talked a little bit about successful chaos and what that looks like in a startup. So when you're 25 people, when you're 5 people just starting out, like what are you doing to encourage the team to put their leadership stake in the ground and grit and we're running for the flag?
Well, so I think that's a big part. So one is it's about the team, right? I mean, at the end, and we talked about this last time. A big part of it is actually just building an amazing team that you can rely upon each other, and you can rely on each other's strengths to round out and make the team better.
Right.
And if you can bring people to say, hey, we're working towards one goal, and we all have overlapping or complementary skills, you can move that mission or that purpose forward. And for me personally, I'm a big advocate of just let the team contribute to the best of their abilities, and we just kind of steer the ship, so to speak, in the direction we want it to go. And the more that you have success and you do well and you do right by clients, which is ultimately what we're doing with the business, is that you attract more great people and great customers, and that starts to fuel itself, right? And it takes on literally a life of its own in some regard, because the people who are building the business and building the team are enthusing their values, right? And that's why I said the heart is in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. It's just kind of expanding off of that, right? And the people, in my opinion, are what makes any business successful and what makes a company differentiated versus others, especially in this technologically driven world that we now live in.
It's funny because we can get into the how do you pick the right talent from there. We can go anywhere
Sure.
from that. But the truth is that you do have to be able to really smell out the best talent and be able to trust that they're going to follow your directives. But when you only have 5, 6, maybe 10 people, how are you going to market for sales? Like, what are some of the things that you first do to say, you know, we're going to go get XYZ clients?
So I think there's a few ways I can answer that, right? So and there's some determined and there's some mistakes we've made along the way and there's some things that have worked out well. But I think, you know, depending on how you look at it and how your business is ultimately funded makes a difference too in how you go after sales, right? But you know, one thing I can say is that it helps in any business to pick your target, right? So understand the type of customer, the vertical, the profile of an account potentially you want to go after, and understand how the product or service that you're selling supports that target client or that industry of customers, right? And then build a message around that and build a product around that that actually delivers on what you say it's going to do. Right. And then as that starts to happen, you build, brand loyalists, if you will, or advocates within your clients that will say, this product is actually doing what it's supposed to do. Yeah. We enjoy working with this group of people. They're fun, and then in particular, and they deliver and they say what they're going to do, which is your act in integrity, right? And then it starts to grow, right? And then it comes back to how do you expand the business, right? Then how do you take that example of a customer and get more clients, right? And get expanded into those clients. And how do you develop new products and services that continue to help those clients and that builds the ultimate community of what you're doing. That's where we are now, right? And as far as the actual tactical, this is how you hire salespeople, this is how you track sales performance, this is how you build marketing funnels, this is how you track marketing performance, this is how you integrate those. Those are trial and error that every company goes through, including us. We're in the heat of that, right? And as you grow, you go through iterations of that because size and new people change the approach, and as the market changes too, that changes the approach, right? So there's no silver bullet, single answer to say this is how you do it, right? But I think at a core level, it comes down to values and adding value to whoever you want to work with.
That's awesome. All right, we're going to pause right there and take a commercial break. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
When did you see the sign?
When I needed to jumpstart sales.
Build attendance for an event.
Help people find their way. Fast Signs designed new directional signage.
And got them back on track. Get started at fastsigns.com.
I'm Casey Price, host of a brand new show on RVN TV called Justice for All. Tune in every Tuesday at 1 p.m. as some of South Jersey's amazing attorneys share their stories and important legal information that could affect you and the people you love. Remember, that's in Justice for All, every Tuesday at 1 p.m. only on RVN TV.
Is your business growing and now you need a new and bigger building? Has your organization outgrown their facility and now it's time to expand? Do your hobbies require the need for more space? If you're paying rent, but now you want the advantages of owning, the prospect of financing, construction, and on-time completion may seem out of your reach. General Steel Corporation has the answer. A pre-engineered steel building from the General will not only look great and satisfy almost any need, but you'll save time and money. Our team will help you create your building and deliver it to your location. We offer design services to help you present your concept to board members, bankers, or for fundraising. And the General can even help with financing. General Steel is a name you know, with quality backed by a 50-year structural warranty. Call today and find out how easy it is to have the building you want. You may even save up to $20,000 with rebates. If you need space, you need the General.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Coach Donna V, and this is That Sales Show, and I'm with Derek Ludston, the CEO of Scrimmage. And we just got done talking about sales, how do you go out and look for your first client acquisition and things like that. So one of the things that I've recognized from working with startups is sometimes, you build the product, you have this idea of, this is this is how we think we're going to go out and
Yeah.
sell it. And then you get to a customer and all of a sudden the use case changes.
Sure.
Have you experienced that?
So that exact situation happened to Scrimmage, right? So about 7.5 years ago, we launched when the iPad came to market, right? The idea was we're going to deliver training, educational content via phones and tablets, right? And our initial use case, because we've been hearing for years that learning management systems, right, the tools that had been historically used to deliver training content were not user-friendly, they were bulky, they were hard to maintain. And so we went out to the market and said, we've got this mobile platform that's going to solve all your problems. It's easy, it's lightweight, it's fun, it's all the stuff you've been telling us everything is not with an LMS, right? And as much as we walked in and expected them to say, great, let's sign the dotted line, they said, yeah, but we've spent millions of dollars and lots of time in this bad system, and even though we've told you that, you're not.
Exit strategy
you haven't proven it. So we're okay, so what are we going to do? So we figured out a different use case for our platform. So we had targeted healthcare, and we said this was a market we wanted to go after. And so we ended up going to marketing teams and we're saying, you have these great products that you're launching, you have thousands of salespeople you're bringing together for national meetings. Why don't you use our platform as a way to have as a meeting app, right? Use our platform to deliver and make your meetings more engaging so that they can go out and sell to their customers more effectively. And so the marketing teams were the first ones who actually bought the product. And then what happened is that the training teams, once they saw that marketing had bought the product, they said, well, we want that product that's educational, so let's use it and start delivering content via the platform. And what happened over time as the product did what we said it would do is that clients, through their own wisdom, started realizing this is a platform that can deliver a new format of learning, and it's a better format. Why are we using these old systems? And so what started happening is we'd run in parallel, right? So some clients would use us and an LMS, and we might integrate those tools. And now, fast forward, now clients are coming to Scrimmage and saying, we want to use you instead of learning management systems, right? You're about learning activation, you're about learning inspiration, you're about user first, and we still have all the capabilities that we want as a corporation, but it's a very different experience. And that's finally, almost 8 years later, matured to what we thought it was going to be.
Right.
But that's the interesting journey that kind of we went on as a platform.
Are there any anomalies to that? Like some people are using it like
Sure.
how you initially intended it?
Well, I mean, they are using it that way now, but it took trial and experience of the client to make that determination.
Right.
Our selling it wasn't why they bought it. They bought it for a different reason. Then it evolved into what we expected it to evolve into. So that was something that we tweaked slightly, and now that it's correct. But yeah, I mean, there's other clients that are using it for customer education. They're using it as a sales tool. They're using it in different ways that we didn't necessarily expect or anticipate, that are really exciting, and I think represent future products that we may be able to offer. But yeah, the product is doing, on some level, what we expected it would do early on.
This is just a user question about it. Can you use the mobile on a desktop too?
Yeah. So it works across our platform works across any device. It's optimized for optimized for phones and tablets, but it works on your desktop. And frankly, when I think of mobile, I'm thinking about any type of device, and mobility is about to change dramatically. So we're already thinking ahead about how do we address that issue and question too.
So you get your first 3, 4, 5 clients.
Yeah.
Right. And I consider those strategic partners because they're going to be your tribe.
And most of them are still with us to this point. Yeah.
So how do you get them to be part of your tribe and advocate for you and share with other potential customers your greatness?
Well, I think it goes back to what we said before. It goes back to values and value, right? There's the person side, which is I'm in resonance with this person. We share the same values. We're aligned. We want the same things. The same things are priorities for us on a kind of integrity level. And then it goes back to value, which is how are you helping me advance my business? How are you helping me personally advance my career? How are you helping my company advance our goals? Mm-hmm. And that all goes around, and then that goes back to creating win-win-wins, right? There's wins on each company level, there's wins for each person that's involved, there's wins for the broader market, and that goes back to Scrimmage and the gaming aspect. We want to create wins for everyone, right? We want to create that culture of this is how business is done as we move into the 21st century, and we're really trying to live that approach to how we lead and operate in our business.
Mm-hmm. So tell me the origin of Scrimmage.
Well, so it comes back to just Scrimmage is a game. It's a practice game, right? It's a simulated game. So there is stakes, there is competition, but it's not necessarily as cutthroat as a full-on competitive game would be. It's a practice for the game, right? And so you're bringing the best of both worlds together to work on your skills, to learn, to get better, to show up for your customers when it really does count. But also you're working together as a team, working together with your customers to come up with new approaches and better ways of doing things. Right? That's what it comes down to. And on a sports level, people understand that branding. And on a technical level, when you think about Scrum or that and IT, there's an element of that. So it really does transcend lots of different people in terms of how it resonates with them.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you're in a startup, hard to justify the ROI right away.
Yeah.
So how do you do that with your first 2, 3 customers? When you're engaged with them, you're trying to, sell them the vision, the future state of their business using your tool.
So for us, it just comes down to being candid, right? And just telling them, listen, you are an early adopter. We do see this value. We'll give you certain benefits, and whether it be cost savings or incentives or value-added services that help to get the business going and help us collect the information and data that would be of value add to future clients, right? And they reap the benefit of helping to provide for that and also leverage the success of that too, right? So there's some give and take, and that's ultimately what it comes back to. And it's that value exchange.
Yeah.
I keep coming back to that.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of times you hear CEOs or people in startups, we don't have any. How are we going to be how are we going to compete against the big guys? We got to start small.
Sure.
Let's start with a small company. Let's just get our feet wet. I'm like, well, you got to talk to everybody.
It's almost as hard to land a small company. It might be even harder than a big company, right? And there's different dynamics to landing both types of companies, right?
Yeah.
But we just sought to go after the large enterprise market. That was what we knew. We saw it. We saw an opportunity, and that's ultimately served us well. But I do think that, as I mentioned, there's a whole universe of companies out there that we could provide value to, and not even just companies, but organizations, nonprofits, universities, school systems, whatever. We haven't even figured it out yet. So we'll see.
Look at that mindset. There's a whole universe of companies. If everybody took that in their prospecting mindset, everybody would be successful. That's awesome.
From your mouth to God's ears.
That's right. Yeah. So we're going to take a commercial break. We'll be right back, folks, in 2 minutes.
For people of any industry to share their story. Over 285,000 viewers are tuning in to RVN TV shows monthly. We guarantee a great experience that you'll be sharing with everyone you know while increasing your personal and company's brand awareness. But what is your brand? According to Forbes, it's a combination of your logo, your product, your design and feel, and your personality. Did you know that aside from being a guest, we offer even more opportunity to boost your brand? Adding your company logo and website on screen during your interview will allow viewers to recognize your brand instantly. Incorporating images and video clips is another great way to showcase your product during your live segment. Let viewers see how good you really are. And most importantly, there's you and your interview. For less than the cost of it.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Coach Donna V and That Sales Show, and we're trying to get an hour show because this conversation is really long, but we were told we can't. But we're going to talk about mindset because that last segment, you come alive with everything. But I think that last mindset of we can help companies in the universe. So. We do want to try to catch everybody. Sure. It's a numbers game in sales, correct?
Sure.
So your activities dictate your outcomes, and making sure you sell the right value proposition in between is very important.
Right.
But there's that mindset piece. I know it too when I sell. I'm like, oh God, I'm selling a new CRM, right? That I love, Itaquad, and I'm like looking at these companies that use, our competitors that are, and you hear people, oh, we're too invested in it. And it can trip some salespeople out.
Sure.
Like, oh no, I don't want to call 40 more companies like this.
Yeah.
So how do you teach your people to persist through that? What's the mindset that gets people to keep on going when they know that they're new to market and they can help millions of people?
Yeah. So that comes back to, I mean, discipline is the word that I would use, and just in any way, whether it's selling or in exercising or in eating healthy or in practicing your spirituality, whatever it is, it takes discipline to do that, right? You have to do it every day, even when you don't necessarily want to do it, right? You still have to put the calls in, you still have to put the emails in, you still have to do the meetings, even when people say no, or they don't give you the answer, or they delay it, or they cancel on you. I mean, there's a whole litany of things that happen. And the reality is, you know, I've been in sales since I started in business, ultimately. So I've heard the no a lot, way more than I've ever heard yes, right? And so you just developed the rejection armor, if you will, that you're going to hear no a lot, and things are not going to go the way that necessarily you want them or expect them to go. And you have just made the decision that you're going to hang in there no matter what, right? You're going to hang on for the ride so long as you can keep going, right?
You can't help everybody.
Yeah, I mean, well, maybe you can, but that's the thing too. Like you can think that way, but it doesn't. You can't be determined. You can't be, dissuaded from helping everyone, even when you hear it. It's almost like you have to just be ignorant of the fact that you're hearing there's objections and just see it through regardless.
Denial
and at some
helps.
point, I guess in a way, But I'm not saying to be totally, lack self-awareness, but like in the moment of what you're doing, like you have to just be almost ignoring every other thing that's showing that and fight through it, right? Yeah. And then, eventually things tend to kind of reorganize around it, and then you can push through the next level. That's what I've experienced, and I think a lot of really successful people would tell a similar story.
So when you're a startup, you don't consider yourself a startup anymore. You're kind of like in a...
I joke that we're in the awkward stage. We're like a preteen, right? Like we're about to go through our big growth spurt. And
puberty?
Exactly,
Oh my God, that's hilarious. So do you go on sales calls? Or
of course,
I
love sales. I'm always, I think that'll be something I always do. And I don't even think of it as sales calls. I think of it as going to see customers, going to see prospective customers, going and meeting people, going and building our network. For me, selling is just about connecting. And ultimately, you connect something that someone either knows they need or doesn't know yet that they need, or something that we can provide or that someone in our network can provide. And you build a relationship, values exchange, values are aligned, and things just happen. And that's kind of what sales is on a mental level, aside from the tactics and calls per day, emails per day, proposals sent, dollars tracked, all that stuff. Right?
And you do track all that.
Of course.
So your metrics happy.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I don't always see founders or CEOs really comfortable playing that lead role. I think it's very important because I think the reason why people trust a new company is because they have that intimacy. They can be a part of something and shaping something, and they know that they have a somebody who's going to be responsive.
Sure.
So, but I think some people don't have the charisma you have. So
thank you. I'm humbled.
You're amazing. So how do you give that, like what would be your advice to people who fear going out there? They want to, but they're like, I need my salespeople to do that. I'm not really good in front of customers.
Practice Scrimmage, practice. I mean, like literally it's just go do it and keep doing it, even when it's uncomfortable, even when you don't want to, even when it seems like you shouldn't, even, all the reasons in your head and all this stuff that people are saying. Just do it anyway, and just keep working on it, and be comfortable being uncomfortable, and be willing to make mistakes, and be willing to adjust those mistakes, and be willing to apologize a lot and accept responsibility, and you tend to, keep going, and things kind of, again, will respond accordingly, and you just keep showing up. I think that's the best lesson I can have, that I've experienced and I've learned by doing, right? Yeah.
Do you start your conversations when you're going out with your customers talking about the why of Scrimmage, or do you really try to learn a little bit more about their business before you impart the why?
It depends, right? So that's another thing that's evolved. If you look at even the course of my career, I mean, as a really young salesperson, I was a really big listener. I mean, only listened. I didn't sell at all, and I shouldn't say sell at all. I didn't position my value early enough in the conversation, I think, right? I think it's important that you do share that message, and there's lots of data out there in terms of how you sell, right? But I think that goes back to practice. I mean, how I sold 10 years ago is very different than how I sell now. Again, you build confidence, you build skills, you learn scenarios, like you start to anticipate things differently, and you learn to see the person that you're talking with differently in terms of how they're going to receive a message, or what they want to hear, or what they want to share. And I think that goes back to personalization. And I think when we try to train or educate people, we try to do it en masse, right? But at the end of the day, what we're going to technology and what Scrimmage is doing is about personalization. How do you provide something that's going to add value to that unique person, to that unique prospect, to that unique customer, to that unique employee, right? That's where technology is allowing us to go. Yeah. And that's what we're looking to do.
Yeah,
so.
I kind of think about quarterbacks and situational awareness.
Sure.
Like I think about, Doug Peterson helping Foles. Like he was able to anticipate things that he saw from watching films, from experiencing, being behind the eyeballs of really great organizations like Green Bay. And I know I love Doug Peterson. Everybody panned him when he first came, but I thought he was bold. I thought he was brave, and I think he didn't let anybody scare him out of his shoes.
Well, now he's the first one to win a Super Bowl with the Eagles, so there you go.
That's right. So he actually also didn't coach scared.
Right.
So, and I think that does come with practice, and that was that situational fluency or situational awareness. And I think you're right. Like startups and even high growth.
Sure.
People need to rethink how their self-awareness, rethink about how they're communicating, what they're saying, what the different scenarios are that they're going to have that will make them more successful.
So I'm glad you raised that, because I actually raised another thing that I learned last week. So I was at the Singularity University conference in San Francisco. And we were talking about, you mentioned this earlier, EQ, right? Talk about IQ, EQ, and now the next evolution in our market is called AQ, right? Adaptability quotient, right? And that goes back to, in the world that we live in, with as fast as things are changing, and as fast as technology is moving things along, and as fast as ideas are flowing and moving, the ability to adapt to change is the single biggest differentiator for how successful you can be or how successful your organization can be, right? And that's something
self-authoring mind.
Totally.
Yeah. Being able to adapt, that's awesome. So we're getting ready to wrap up soon, and I really want people to have an opportunity to know how to get in touch with you, and what's the easiest path to you. Just call him on his phone. He answers at 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's actually true. And my wife gets mad about that. So, but in all seriousness, go on, our website is wescrimmage.com. On social media, all the channels we're on at WeScrimmage. I'm on there actively as well on all the channels personally, so you can reach out to our team, myself, anyone around us through those different ways.
Awesome.
So I look forward to speaking.
And lightning rod question. A few books that have made the most impact on your leadership in the last 3 years.
Abundance is the book that I share with everyone all the time. It's literally changed my entire mindset, and it's underlying everything I do in business. And so that's, I think, the single book that I'd recommend, because it's literally changed how I've operated for the last 5+ years.
What's the second one?
I mean, there's so many, but
Abundance too?
He did write a second book called Bold. The author of that book did write a second book called Bold. Awesome. But I mean, back to the old school Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's always been a good business book to come back to. Right now I'm reading a book on how to be a good father, how to be an amazing father, right? So I mean, it's not just about business. I mean,
you're a growth junkie.
I'm a growth junkie, like we talked about. So it's always, how do you expand in any way? Right? So I have a list of about 30 books that I'd like to get to right now.
Yeah,
so
on deck.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, listen, thank you so much
for
coming. It was
pleasure.
a pleasure.
Always. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to see you next week at 11 o'clock here on RVN TV. Thanks.